Welcome to a story about love, trust, and the unpredictable ways life can test the heart. This is the story of Daniel and Olivia, a couple whose love once felt like poetry written by the hands of heaven. They lived in Lagos, in a beautiful duplex nestled within a quiet estate where the breeze often carried the laughter of children and the rhythm of daily life. Daniel was a civil engineer, smart, funny, and deeply devoted to his family. Olivia, on the other hand, was a fashion designer, gentle, patient, the kind of woman whose smile could calm even the roughest day. They had been married for 5 years, and in those years, their home had become a temple of joy. Every morning began with the soft giggles of their 2-year-old daughter, Prada. Their light, their laughter, their everything. Daniel would often carry little Prada on his shoulders as they walked through the living room while Olivia prepared breakfast. "Daddy, fly me," the little girl would squeal, stretching her arms like wings, and Daniel would lift her high, his laughter blending with hers, a melody that could soften even the hardest heart. Olivia would glance from the kitchen door, shaking her head playfully. "You two will break something one day," she'd say, but even her mock scolding was filled with love. They were the picture of happiness, a family untouched by sorrow, bound by the kind of love that makes people believe in forever. But life sometimes has a way of changing the melody. One evening, after dinner, Olivia noticed that Prada wasn't her usual cheerful self. Her laughter had dimmed, her skin looked pale, and she refused her favorite food, plantain and scrambled eggs. "Maybe she's tired," Daniel said, brushing it off with a gentle smile. But by midnight, Prada's body was burning with fever. Olivia panicked. "Daniel, her temperature is rising. She's shaking." Her voice trembled as she wrapped the child in a blanket. Without wasting another second, Daniel grabbed his car keys. "Let's go, now!" They raced through the quiet streets, the car engine roaring through the night. Olivia sat in the back seat, whispering prayers under her breath, her tears soaking the child's tiny hand. At the hospital, the doctors rushed Prada into the emergency ward. The cold, fluorescent lights felt harsh, sterile, as if they could strip emotions bare. Minutes felt like hours. Finally, a doctor walked up to them. His face was calm but serious. "Mr. and Mrs. Daniel, your daughter needs an urgent blood transfusion. Her red blood count is dangerously low." Daniel straightened, relief washing through him. "Take mine. Test me. I'll give her whatever she needs." The doctor nodded quickly. "We'll start immediately." They drew Daniel's blood. Olivia held his hand tightly, whispering, "Thank you, my love." He smiled faintly. "For our daughter, I'd give my life." An hour later, the doctor returned, his expression unreadable. "Mr. Daniel, I'm afraid you are not a match for your daughter's blood type." Silence. Heavy. Suffocating. Daniel blinked. "What do you mean?" His voice broke. "I'm her father. How can I not be a match?" The doctor shifted uneasily. "It happens, sir. Sometimes the blood type may differ, but it's rare. We'll test Mrs. Olivia next." Daniel's pulse raced. He looked at Olivia, searching her eyes. She looked terrified, confused, but nodded weakly. While they drew Olivia's blood, Daniel paced the waiting area, his hands on his head, muttering under his breath, "No, no, it's not possible." And when the doctor returned again, his tone was calm but cautious. "Mrs. Olivia is not a suitable match either. We'll have to use donor blood immediately to save your daughter's life." Olivia felt the ground tilt beneath her. "What? That can't be! I'm her mother!" The doctor sighed. "Ma, what matters now is that we stabilize the child. We'll run further genetic tests later. For now, let's get the transfusion started." Olivia nodded numbly, tears streaming down her cheeks. Daniel stood frozen, his body stiff, his face pale. Hours passed. The transfusion was successful. Prada's breathing steadied, but the silence between their parents became heavier than the walls around them. Back home, Daniel said nothing. He walked straight into the bedroom, sat on the edge of the bed, and stared at the floor. Olivia approached slowly. "Daniel," her voice was small, trembling. "Say something, please." He turned to her, eyes red with disbelief. "Say something? What do you want me to say, Olivia? That maybe the doctor is wrong, that maybe the machine made a mistake?" She tried to touch him. He pulled away. "How can I not be the father of my own daughter?" Olivia flinched. "Daniel, please don't talk like that. You know me. I have never—" "Don't." He raised his hand, voice breaking. "Don't stand there and lie to me." Tears welled in her eyes. "You think I cheated on you?" Daniel's silence said more than words could. That night, they slept on opposite sides of the bed. Two strangers, separated by doubt. And for the first time in their marriage, love felt like a wound that refused to close. The next morning came with more questions, more silence, more pain. And as the sun rose, Olivia sat by the window, watching the light fall across her sleeping daughter's face, and she whispered to herself, "God, please, don't let this be the end of my family." But fate was only just beginning to reveal its truth.
For Daniel, that night was the longest of his existence. He lay on the bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of his marriage. Every laugh, every touch, every memory that once brought joy now felt like betrayal. "How did I get here?" he whispered to himself. "How did the woman I trusted with my soul do this to me?" Meanwhile, Olivia sat by the window unable to sleep. Her mind was chaos, 1,000 questions colliding like storm clouds. She whispered into the darkness, "God, what is happening? I never cheated. I never did." The morning light crawled slowly into their room, but it brought no peace. Daniel avoided her eyes. He dressed quietly and left for work, though his heart wasn't really there. Olivia stayed home, staring at her daughter's toys scattered across the floor, and she began to cry softly. By afternoon, the hospital called. The doctor wanted to run more tests to confirm the findings. Daniel hesitated, but Olivia insisted, "Please, let's do it again. Let's be sure." At the hospital, silence followed them like a shadow. The same doctor took the samples again, one from Daniel, one from little Prada. Olivia watched Daniel's face, blank, cold, unreadable. The man she knew, the man who once smiled every morning before leaving for work, now looked like a stranger wearing her husband's face. They waited for 2 days, and when the results came out, the doctor took a deep breath before speaking. "I'm sorry, but the result is still the same. Mr. Daniel, you are not the biological father of this child." The words sliced through the air like a knife. Daniel closed his eyes and exhaled sharply. "I knew it. I knew it." Olivia broke down. "Daniel, please don't do this to me. You have to believe me. I swear on my life, on everything I hold dear, I never slept with any man apart from you." But Daniel wasn't listening. His heart had gone deaf. That night, he moved into the guest room. He couldn't bear to sleep beside her, not when every breath she took reminded him of the wound in his chest. Olivia sat outside the bedroom door, crying quietly. She whispered through the wooden frame, "Daniel, please talk to me. Don't let this destroy us." No reply came. Days passed. The silence became normal. They only spoke when it was about the baby. Who would stay with her while the other went to work? Who would visit the hospital next? Who would pay the next medical bill? Prada eventually recovered, but the joy of her healing couldn't fix what was broken between them. One night, as rain tapped gently on the window pane, Olivia sat awake, staring at the ceiling. She couldn't stop thinking. Her husband's words echoed in her head. How can I not be her father? And suddenly, like a whisper from her soul, another thought crept in. Wait, I was never tested as her mother. She sat up quickly, her heart pounding. What if something else is wrong? She whispered. Morning couldn't come fast enough. At dawn, she knocked on Daniel's guest room door, softly at first, then louder. Daniel, please wake up. I need to talk to you. He opened the door reluctantly, his eyes tired. What is it again, Olivia? She took a deep breath. Please, just listen. What if the child is not mine either? He stared at her, confused. What are you saying? I mean, we tested you, but not me. What if something happened in the hospital? What if... Enough, Olivia. Don't start another story just to escape this. But she didn't back down. Daniel, please, I'm not trying to escape. I just need to know the truth for both of us. He looked at her for a long moment, then sighed. Fine. For the benefit of doubt, we'll go today. That afternoon, they returned to the hospital. The same doctor looked at them with tired eyes. Another test? He asked. Olivia nodded. Yes, this time for me. The doctor didn't argue. Blood samples were taken again, this time from Olivia and the little girl. Daniel stood by the door, arms crossed, face hard as stone. He didn't say a word. When they returned home, the air between them was thick with silence. Days passed again. Long, heavy, painful days filled with what-ifs and unanswered prayers. Finally, after 5 days, the call came in. Your results are ready. They drove to the hospital in silence. Neither one spoke a word. The doctor sat them down in his office, his face pale, his fingers tapping nervously on the desk. He began slowly. Mr. and Mrs. Daniel, what I'm about to say may be hard to believe. Daniel leaned forward. Just say it, doctor. The doctor hesitated, then said softly, Mrs. Olivia, according to the results, you are not the biological mother of this child. The world froze. Olivia blinked, once, twice, then whispered, I'm sorry, what? The doctor repeated it gently. You are not biologically related to this child. Her lips trembled. That's impossible. I carried her for 9 months. I gave birth to her. I was there. She clutched her chest and screamed, No, that's not true. Daniel's jaw dropped. Doctor, what are you saying? The doctor looked helpless. I've run the tests multiple times. There's no mistake. It appears there was a mix-up at birth. Your baby may have been switched with another family's child in the hospital 2 years ago. Olivia's world crumbled. She couldn't breathe. She screamed and fell to her knees. Switched? My baby? You mean my child is out there with someone else? Daniel held her instinctively, but she pushed them away, sobbing uncontrollably. Her cries echoed through the hospital corridors, raw, haunting, full of pain. An emergency investigation began immediately. Nurses and doctors who worked the night of the delivery were summoned for questioning. Records were dug up, delivery lists rechecked, CCTV footage analyzed. And there it was. 2 babies born the same night, within minutes of each other. Both girls, both wrapped in identical pink blankets, both tagged wrongly during a power outage that night. The babies had been switched by mistake. The doctor's voice trembled as he explained. The other couple was contacted, but they've moved away. No forwarding address. We're trying to trace them. Olivia's tears had dried, but her face was pale, hollow. You mean my child, my real child, is lost? The doctor looked down. For now, but we'll find her. Daniel sat in silence, guilt washing over him. He turned to Olivia, eyes filled with regret. Olivia, I'm sorry. I doubted you. She shook her head, stepping back. Her voice cracked. Don't say anything. He tried to reach for her hand, but she walked away, tears falling freely again. That night, she packed a small bag. Daniel stood by the door, his voice trembling. Where are you going? To my sister's place, she said flatly. I need to think. I need to breathe. He swallowed hard. Olivia, please don't go. We'll fix this. We'll find her. She paused briefly at the door. You broke something inside me. You didn't trust me when I needed you the most. Then she left, with little Prada in her arms. Weeks passed. Olivia tried to live again, cooking, helping her sister with her kids, forcing smiles. But each time she looked at Prada, her heart ached. Because no matter how much she loved the little girl, a whisper always came. She's not yours. Every night, Olivia would sit by the window, holding Prada's tiny hand, whispering softly, Where are you, my child? Are you safe? Do you look like me? Do you smile like me? Her tears became her lullaby. And somewhere deep inside her, a promise began to grow. I will find my daughter, no matter what it takes. But the road to truth had only just begun.
Months had rolled by since Olivia left Daniel's home. The once lively woman had grown quieter, her laughter now a rare echo in her sister's house in Surulere. She spent her days caring for little Prada, the baby she had raised and loved, though the blood test had said otherwise. At night, she'd sit by the window, watching the city lights flicker, whispering to the heavens, God, where is my child? Every cry of a baby on the street, every lullaby on TV felt like a blade slicing through her chest. She had written countless letters to the hospital, to the police, even to journalists, hoping someone, somewhere, would hear her story. But no one did. The case had gone cold. Life had moved on, except for her. Daniel, too, was a shadow of himself. He rarely smiled anymore. The business he once ran with pride had lost its spark.
He went to work, came home, and sat in silence. Every night he'd stare at the empty side of his bed, his mind echoing with his own angry words. How could you do this to me? He had shouted them in pain, but now they haunted him in shame. He knew Olivia didn't deserve his rage. Deep down, something told him she had spoken the truth, but his pride, oh his pride, wouldn't let him admit it. One humid evening, as thunder rumbled over Lagos, Daniel sat in his car outside the hospital. He had come once again, hoping, praying for new information. A young nurse recognized him. "Sir, are you Mr. Daniel Adewale?" she asked softly. "Yes," he replied, his voice tired. "I think I remember something about your wife's case," she said, lowering her voice. "There was another woman who delivered that same night. She was transferred under a different name, a clerical mistake. She moved to a town near Benin City." Daniel's heart pounded. "Are you sure?" "I am," she said. "Her name was Amara Nwodu." Daniel barely slept that night. By dawn, he picked up his phone, his hands trembling, and called the number he hadn't dialed in months. "Hello," Olivia's voice came through, weak and uncertain. There was silence, long, heavy, and awkward. Then Daniel whispered, "Liv, I think I found her." Olivia froze. "What did you say?" "Our daughter. I think I found her." The next morning, they met at the bus terminal in Ojota. The sky was gray, clouds hanging low, as though nature held its breath. They stood there for a moment, husband and wife, estranged, yet still bound by invisible threads of love and pain. Olivia broke the silence. "You look thinner." Daniel smiled faintly. "You look stronger." Neither said the words they really wanted to say. "I'm sorry." The bus hummed to life, and their journey to Benin began. They rode through the red earth of Ogun State, past the endless farmlands of Edo State, where palm trees bowed in the wind like silent witnesses to their story. Inside the bus, Olivia sat by the window, clutching Prada close, whispering silent prayers. Daniel kept glancing at her reflection on the glass, wondering how he had ever doubted her love. By afternoon, rain began to fall, heavy and cleansing. They reached the small town called Tubu. The roads were muddy, the air smelled of wet earth and roasted corn. A local child guided them to a house with a blue gate and a single mango tree in front. Daniel and Olivia stood still before knocking. The sound of a child's laughter floated from inside, pure and musical like a bell in the wind. Olivia's eyes widened. "Did you hear that?" Daniel nodded, heart pounding. Then he knocked. The door opened slowly. A woman appeared, tall, with tired but gentle eyes. In her arms, a little girl with chubby cheeks and curious brown eyes stared at them. The moment Olivia's gaze met the child's, something in her soul shifted. Her knees weakened. She whispered, "Daniel, look at her eyes. They are yours." Amara, the other mother, looked from Daniel to Olivia confused. "What is this about?" Daniel explained everything. The switch, the DNA, the endless search. Tears welled in Amara's eyes as she held the little girl closer. She said, "Her name is Miracle, but she's always had this birthmark on her shoulder. The doctor said it was unique." Olivia gasped. "My daughter had that mark too, shaped like a crescent moon." The truth unraveled like destiny itself. They all went to a nearby clinic where samples were taken. The waiting hours felt like years. Daniel paced the hall. Olivia held Prada close, whispering prayers under her breath. When the doctor finally stepped out, holding the file, time seemed to stop. He looked at them and said, "Congratulations, Miracle is your daughter." Olivia collapsed into Daniel's arms, crying uncontrollably. He held her tight, whispering, "I'm sorry, I should have trusted you." Amara too was crying, hugging Prada, who had been hers by accident, yet loved like her own. The two mothers embraced, both victims of fate, both mothers of the same bond, love. Days later, the families met again to make a decision. They agreed to stay connected, to raise the two girls as sisters, not strangers. Daniel and Olivia returned to Lagos with Miracle. But they didn't part ways with Amara and her husband. They visited often, shared birthdays, and built a family beyond bloodlines. Months later, Daniel surprised Olivia with a vow renewal in a quiet church in Lekki. Only close friends, their daughters, and a priest were present. As Olivia walked down the aisle again, Miracle and Prada ran ahead, tossing petals, laughing freely, two souls born of one destiny. When Daniel took Olivia's hand, he said softly, "You are my life's greatest truth, and I will spend the rest of my days proving it." Olivia smiled through tears, and I will never stop loving you. As they sealed their vows, the church filled with light from the setting sun, golden, warm, divine. The music swelled, and somewhere deep within their hearts, peace returned. Not the fragile peace of before, but the kind that survives storms. Sometimes, life breaks us, only to piece us together stronger. Sometimes, we lose our way, only to find what was truly ours waiting at the end of the road. This story is a reminder. Love that is real does not end. It transforms, it endures, and it always finds its way home. If this story touched your heart, please follow, share, and subscribe for more African tales that speak to the soul.